Hello and welcome to another CraftySniper's Airsoft videos. Now, today's video is going to be a brand new series of videos, or should I say the first video of a brand new series of videos. It is going to be questions with Crafty. Now, I've been putting up posts on the Facebook page stating that I will be doing these videos. It's a simple idea behind it. What the idea is you guys get to nominate the questions. If you want your Airsoft question answered, if you want my opinions on anything that you think is important in Airsoft, let me know, put it in as a personal message, drop it into any way on the Facebook page, and I will make a video of them. Like I say, I put the comments out there and people have responded, so I've got 3 questions to answer. Now, before we get into the first video, we're actually going to do a little bit of news. Now, for some of you astute viewers out there, you may realise that I am gripping onto a shotgun, this thing right here. And you're probably wondering, why the heck am I doing this? Because I'm not reviewing it, God forbid. Basically because this shotgun and me are now less than 24 hours away from a full 24-hour Airsoft event. That's right, yours truly is doing his very first 24-hour match. Now, this has been held by the guys at Lincolnshire Airsoft Club. It's called Tachyval, and I literally cannot wait for this. I am so stoked for this. I've got another shift of work to get through, and trust me, my brain cell is not going to be concentrating on work too much. It's just making sure that I've got all my kit ready for this thing. Now, you might be wanting to know what Tachyval is. Well, Tachyval basically is going to be pairs of players. You're going to have 40 players max on this site, and you're going to have each of them in pairs. And we're going to go out there and we're going to shoot over objectives, we're going to nick objectives. These objectives are going to be parcels of supplies, because weirdly enough we're only allowed to carry 100 BBs for the 24-hour match. That's 100 BBs, that's nothing in Airsoft terms. But some of the objectives that we fight over could be ammo drops, so we could end up with a bottle of BBs, you know, that kind of stuff. So, why the shotgun? Well, this is the only weapon I'm actually allowed to take. I'm not allowed to take any of my AEGs. The actual list of weapons that we're allowed is a shotgun with 2 magazines and a handgun with 2 magazines. I'm still kind of umming and ahhing whether I'm going to take a handgun, because it's, you know, it's heavyweight, and when it gets cold in the middle of the night it might tend to vent its gas, which would be completely useless. So the old spring shotgun is going to be a better choice of weapons. So, like I say, I am really stoked for this. If you'd seen my kit, it's now pretty much all sorted for this, I think anyway. I can't wait for this match. Weirdly enough, when this video is being made, I am waiting to do the match. However, when this video will probably be going online, I'll have probably done the match. So, you know, I'll probably put a video up of what happened. I am probably going to take a camera with me, a very small little camera, so maybe we'll have some photos popping up. I don't know yet. I've got to try and work out whether that's a feasible thing to do. So anyway, we'll get rid of the shotgun because we don't need that for this video. So anyway, question with Crafty, first episode. Right, first question we have is, what was the most interesting site that I've been to? Well, in my 3 and a bit years now of Airsoft, I have been to a few different sites in and around Lincolnshire. We have ventured to other sites in the UK. Now, weirdly enough, even though 99% of my matches all take place at Lincolnshire Airsoft Club, I'm actually going to say that the most interesting site I ever went to was More Airsoft. This is in Melton Mowbray, I do believe. I could be wrong, but I'll put a link up on the options below this video. You might be wondering why I choose this site. Well, when you go to Lincolnshire Airsoft Club matches, and they're great, don't get me wrong, they're awesome, we're missing one thing, and that's buildings, structures. We fight through forests, we fight through salt flats, things like that, but we don't have a structure to fight through. At Melton Mowbray Airsoft, we do. There is buildings, and these buildings are, you know, everything from little tiny rooms to a train station. I kid you not, the first match we actually went to at More Airsoft was fighting over a train station. It's a disused one, obviously, there's no train tracks there, but you have a multitude of little buildings and some bigger, longer buildings. I mean, I don't know what the train station was, I'm guessing it wasn't anything grand or anything, but for an airsoft fight, it's awesome. and it's something that's different. That's what we're all looking for in airsoft. We're always looking for something that's different from the norm. And to me, fighting in buildings, or in and around buildings, was that different thing. And even though I didn't know the site, it was the first time I ever went there, I was like, Christ, this is completely and utterly different than I've ever had to do. So, fighting over a train station, awesome. I do believe the second firefight we had was in a forest, a very dense forest, and in the middle of this forest is randomly placed bunkers. These bunkers are actually a little bit above the ground, but a lot of the building is actually below the ground. So you dropped in through a door, you went into this structure which had a couple or three rooms, and you're fighting over these buildings. It's something that's completely different. It adds another dimension to your airsoft fight. If you're in a forest normally and you've got no structures, it's just basically, well, you've got 10 players here and you've got 10 players there, and they're just going to firefight, and whoever gets most accurate rounds is probably going to win. Or whoever has the most numbers is probably going to win. But you could have a smaller group of players inside a structure holding off a larger group of players because they have a defensive position to hold. And it's something, like I say, it's something completely different. So for me, more airsoft gets the vote for me for being the most interesting site I've ever been to. So anyway, that's the first question. Second question, what is the most interesting riff that you've used or owned or seen? Well, as you know, because everyone seems to know in airsoft, if you know anything about me, I have a rather large collection of guns. However, there is one gun that still eludes me. I still cannot get hold of this one, and that's the Barrett. Now, to me, in real world, I freaking love the Barrett 50 cal sniper rifle. It is just jaw-dropping. Whenever I see them in the movies, or you see them in real, you see them in documentaries, things like that, to me, it's awesome. It's a big, solid lump of steel that lobs out big, solid lumps of steel over vast distances and makes whatever you were shooting at disappear. So when it comes to the airsoft versions, there are a few versions out there. There's an electric version which is naff. It just has the looks of a Barrett, you know, but it's an electric version, so it's 350 feet per second. It's completely and utterly pointless. You then have the spring versions, which I think are the M99 Barrett. That's all right, you know. The internals were a bit weird. You know, you need to put a lot of money and a lot of work into that particular gun to make it a feasible, viable sniper platform. However, it's not those two versions that make me, you know, class as my most interesting airsoft weapon. It's the gas version. There's a CO2 version by SOCOM Gear, and it's the M107 Barrett, and I've watched videos of this thing, and it is freaking awesome. The thing is loaded up with CO2, it has shells, so that means it has shell ejecting. You fire, and then a spent shell flies out the side of the thing. It's a full-size Barrett. It might be the M8, no, it's the M107 Barrett, not the M82, and he's awesome. Now, like I said, I've seen videos of it, and if it was just videos, I wouldn't really count the Barrett as being the most interesting weapon I've ever seen. However, this year, I was at the Airsoft show in, well, somewhere in Coventry, at that end of the world, I do believe, and Red Wolf had an M107 CO2 powered Barrett. It was sat on their stand, you couldn't touch it, you couldn't fire it or anything like that, but it was there, and trust me about this, it looked awesome. If you take airsoft guns into account, the next gun to me personally that will look even a little bit more awesome would be the minigun. And just like the minigun, this gun is completely and utterly unusable. I mean, this is just completely unusable. First of all, it's over £1,000 for this privilege of owning this thing. I think it's retailing at around the £1,200 to £1,400 pound mark, depending on where you can find them, if you can find them, because obviously not many were made. Second of all, it's huge. This thing is over 1 metre long. This thing weighs in excess of 22 pounds. I mean, this is a completely and utterly unusable, or should I say unmovable weapon. Once you are sat down and it's on its bipod, fine. You don't have to carry the thing, you don't have to lug the thing around. You can set up your bipod and your monopod at the back thing, and you can literally just have the gun resting on your shoulder, take aim, fire, and you're not having to carry the thing. However, try to lug it around and basically your arms are going to fall out your sockets. So, you know, as an airsoft weapon, it's completely and utterly unusable. I mean, the actual SOCOM gear version fires 8mm rounds. Most airsoft guns, including this Proxy shotgun, okay, that probably has about the same range as the Barrett, fire 6mm rounds. And that makes chronoing a complete and utter farce. I mean, I seriously don't know how you chrono this weapon at an event in the UK. Lincolnshire Airsoft Club, for instance, chrono on 0.2 6mm rounds. That's their standard round for chronoing. So you're already throwing a bit of a spanner in the works with an 8mm round. Now, how the thing works is you have, in the package, 5 shells, 5 cartridges, whatever you like to call them, and you have a CO2 adapter. You put your CO2 bulb into this adapter, squeeze it so it pierces the bulb, and then you put the adapter at the end of the shell, and it dumps CO2 into the shell. You then do this to all 5 of your shells. You put your 8mm rounds, just one of them, on the end of the shell, and then you load the shells into the humongous magazine that the Barrett uses. You then, I mean, this is awesome. This is the CO2 is neither here nor there, but the actual loading of shells into a magazine, that is awesome, brilliant thing. You then load the magazine up into it and chunk, and it really does sound like the real thing. I mean, this is an airsoft gun I think is very, very realistic in its way it's handling. And as I said, as soon as you fire, the charging handle flying backwards and forwards, it takes the next bullet. It fires the original shell out the side of the gun. Okay, so that's another thing that's completely unusable. You won't want to use this thing outside. I mean, these cartridges, for a start, are expensive, and you're just lobbing them out the side of your gun. Now, they're not going to fall too far, but it means they're going to go rolling in the dirt. You're going to get dirt into where your CO2 stuff is. If they're rolling onto concrete, you could damage them, and like I say, they're expensive, so it's completely and utterly unusable. But it's a shell-ejecting Barrett, and that just floats my boat no end. If I could, I would just love to get one of these things just to review. I know for a freaking doubt that there is no way I'm ever going to get one because, like I say, there ain't that many of them in the UK, let alone in the world. So, as for the most interesting airsoft weapon out there, SOCOM Gear M107. Now, the next question was, if I was to go overseas and play airsoft, what country would it be? Now, this is a tricky one because, like most of us that like airsoft, I spend a lot of time on YouTube looking at other matches that have taken place all over the world, and I've been thinking about this. I'm torn between either Europe, in France and Germany, that area, or America. Now, the sites I've seen in America look absolutely awesome, but there's certain issues with certain players, and you know, it's Americans for crying out loud, thinking hoorah and all that kind of stuff. So I did see an event held in, I do believe, Germany, and there was over 200 players turning up. I do believe it was a style of Milsim event. They had vehicles and buildings and all that kind of stuff to take over. I think it was a 48-hour match. It could have been even longer, I don't know. So, personally, yeah, I've made my mind up. I'm going to go with Germany, okay? Or Germany or France, that end of the world. It's not that far away from where we are, so it is a feasible place to go to. I'm not sure about how to get your weapons over there. I'm pretty sure that's probably impossible, but, you know, if you're going to do it, there's always a way. But that's just purely because I've seen the videos and they look awesome. They, you know, like I say, it's a full 48-hour match. I'll probably, to be honest, after this 24-hour match I'm going to do, I'll probably say I'll never do anything like that ever again in my life. But at the moment, that just looked awesome. So yeah, it's going to be somewhere in Europe, to be honest with you. Right, so that was the first episode of Questions with Crafty. If you personally have any questions, any airsoft related questions, or you, like I say, you want my opinion on anything in airsoft, put it as a personal message, or drop it under this YouTube page. Oh, sorry, under this the video on YouTube. When I link it through to the Facebook page, drop it under there. You know, as long as it's airsoft related, I ain't bothered what it is. Just whack it out there, and I will make a video. I will make a video answering the questions, and hopefully we can make this a series that's going to be a viable string of videos. So, anyway, thank you very much for nominating those questions to me. I enjoyed trying to think about them and trying to come up with some good answers. Some pretty tricky questions there. I'll see you out there on the airsoft field. Stay safe. make sure your airsoft weapons work, and see you next time.